What's good, YouTube? It's Nas and we back with another video. Roll to 900 subscribers, of course. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the playoff series. We're going to be talking about the Timberwolves versus the Denver Nuggets, the rematch. And call it now because we saw this matchup 2 years ago, but I do think this is a way different type of team. Obviously, last time it was Cat on the other side. This time it's Julius Randle. But when we're looking at the Denver Nuggets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's just not that simple. You can't just say, all right, they're the favorites, because I just don't feel like at any moment you can count Anthony Edwards out. When he's healthy, when he's available, Anthony Edwards is no doubtly the best shooting guard in the NBA. And he's proved that multiple times in the playoffs that he can rise to the occasion. With some of the all-time greats, he's been the best player in the series. And against this Denver Nuggets team, which he really hasn't faced all that much throughout this postseason, I feel like this can be a chance for Anthony Edwards can obviously keep building up on his momentum, on his resume. But when you look at the Denver Nuggets side of things, like, this is a way improved the Denver Nuggets team. I said that during the offseason. I said that before the season started. I said that during the season. And when you look at the Denver Nuggets, they're finally fully healthy coming into the postseason, which they just wanted to do. They have their depth, at least. They have, obviously, a team where you want Nikola Jokic to obviously play his best basketball. Jamal Murray excelled to be an all-star this season, in which a season where you have expectations to get to the title. You OKC and San Antonio, you obviously have to show up against this team, which obviously as basketball fans, we would think that the Denver Nuggets are a better team, but it's not that simple. And when you look at who would possibly have to have a big series, I look at probably Peyton Watson or Christian Brown. And maybe it's not me talking about how their core players need to have a big game, because we know what Jamal Murray is going to possibly give you in this series. We know Jamal Murray. But when you look at obviously Christian Brown and Peyton Watson has had a good contract year this season. Christian Brown, obviously, we know his game in transition when he's playing his best basketball. And when Aaron Gordon is going to possibly be guarding either Jaden McDaniels or Anthony Edwards, we know what you're going to get out of those players. So when you look at the Denver Nuggets, it's just not that simple. And when I looked at the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves, I was often confused a lot of the time whether I thought they were contenders or not. And these are two teams which have been the best teams in the league, in which I have been ultimately confused whether they can win the title or even get past, obviously, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. So when you're looking, not the Denver Nuggets, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. So when you're looking at that, and you're looking at this matchup, it's just so intriguing. And every time the Nuggets and the Timberwolves face each other, it doesn't matter how good the teams are. It don't matter how hard they have to, or it doesn't matter how good actually either teams are. It's always going to be a nail biter. It's always going to be a tough game. So I'm looking forward to that. And now looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves side of things, like I had to make a whole different video talking about how confused I was about them. Like, the Timberwolves can beat the shit out of a contender one game and then lose to a team that has no expectations this season. They can beat the shit out of another team and then lose by like 20 to actually a good team. So I just don't know what to expect out of this Minnesota Timberwolves team. And I never know at the end of the season what to expect with the Timberwolves. And out of nowhere, and the Minnesota Timberwolves just rise to the occasion every single playoffs, in which obviously people are calling for Chris Finch to be fired, but I do think he would possibly have his job on the line if they were to lose this first round series. And ultimately, I don't think that's fair, because I would consider the Denver Nuggets a better team in this scenario. But you have Anthony Edwards, you have Julius Randle, you have Rudy Gobert, Ayo Dosunmu, Jaden McDaniels, Dante, Nas, Mike Conley, Bones. Like, you have obviously talent on this team, and it's not going to be like I picked Christian Brown or Peyton Watson on the other side. their core player, I feel like, for this Minnesota Timberwolves team is Julius Randle. And I feel like that every single series, because when Julius is playing his best basketball, it is hard to stop the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we obviously know what we're going to get out of Anthony Edwards game by game, but we have no idea what we're going to get out of Julius Randle. One game he could get you a great 25, and the next game he could get you 14 on fucking 16 shots. So you need Julius Randle to play some good basketball, actually, because when Julius Randle is off, it is really hard to it's a tough watch to watch him go straight to his left hand and do his ISO step back jumper, look off some of their shooters. Like it's tough. It's tough to watch when I'm watching Minnesota Timberwolves games. So if Julius plays his best basketball, we could possibly see an intriguing series. But when we're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, we know that, like I keep saying, Anthony Edwards is going to show up. I have no doubt about that. Like, I know he's coming off his knee injury and he's going to play in the playoffs. People were saying he might have that Stephen Curry injury. He was back 2 games later. So when you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, also Ayo Dosunmu, their trade deadline acquisition is going to have a big series, because I do think Mike Conley will be unplayable in this series, in which Mike Conley is 40, 39, so there's no shame in that. And I thought Mike Conley wouldn't even be on this roster, but here he is. Dante DiVincenzo has to have a good series. Like, he can't have another shitty shooting performance. Like, I'm pretty sure last playoffs he had one of those in a series, and honestly, it looked bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm pretty sure people were calling for Dante to be traded too. Jaden McDaniels, he has to step up as that third option, because there's no one else really to step up. And I do think Jaden McDaniels has upped his production. And ultimately, I've seen that with Anthony Edwards being out. Like, Jaden McDaniels has no choice. Sometimes, even when Julius is on the court, Jaden McDaniels becomes the number one option, in which my friend had to tell me that Jaden McDaniels has an offensive bag now, and he's gotten better in that department, in which I was like, okay, Jaden, like, he's doing some moves. I'm like, okay. And him and Kawhi Leonard did put in work this offseason, so it's expected that Jaden McDaniels would have a good bounce back season this season. I can't even say bounce back, because Jaden McDaniels has never really had that offensive role to obviously be out there to shine. But I do think Jaden McDaniels does have the tools, and often Chris Finch does put Jaden McDaniels in the high waters, because he often has to guard guards, which I don't think Jaden McDaniels is that type of player. Jaden McDaniels' kid's elite at guarding wings, I feel like, but when it comes to guards, they just have that speed advantage. Because remember, Jaden McDaniels is 6'10", 6'11", so you're looking at that, and you're looking at obviously a shifty guard. It's really going to be tough to stop. We watched it obviously in 24 when we watched the Luka Doncic series. We watched it with Shea at the point where Shea was foul baited so much, Jaden McDaniels just pushed him, and he said, I just want to show him what a real foul was. And I respect it. But this is going to be a really interesting series for both teams, because obviously the Denver Nuggets have so much expectations in which you can't possibly let down this season. Like, you're expected to meet the San Antonio Spurs in the second round. And if it's the Minnesota Timberwolves that were possibly to meet the San Antonio Spurs, then we have a different conversation. And on the Minnesota Timberwolves side of things, like, this is a big opportunity too. This is a Julius Randle type of series. Julius Randle needs to show up or he will be out of Minnesota. I just don't think there's any doubts about that. And if Chris Finch, if coaching is an issue, Chris Finch will be out of Minnesota. So I'm interested to see how this entitles, or how this series could possibly go in both ways, in which I would say that I am leaning towards picking the Denver Nuggets in 6 games, but I'm interested to see, because often when I make this type of video, if I talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, they often embarrass my words. So I want to know, who do y'all got in the first round series versus the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Denver Nuggets? Y'all let me know down below. Subscribe. What's good, y'all? If y'all made it to the end of the video, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And there's a video right here. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it if you like this one. And the channel icon's right there if you want to just check out the channel in general. And yeah, leave a like too, because it really helps the algorithm push me out. And yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching this video nonetheless.